There's a map being drawn for you this November, Scorpio. It's not a map of cities or countries, but of experiences, of choices. Most of its terrain is illuminated, filled with promise and potential. But in the uncharted corners, written in a script that only your soul can read, are 3 specific locations. They aren't marked with names you would recognize. They are marked with a warning, a skull and crossbones, a siren's call. They are places of immense power, and for that very reason, they are incredibly dangerous. They are the places that if you enter them unprepared, will not just change your life, they will absolutely ruin it. Ruin it in the way a wildfire ruins a forest, clearing the dead wood to make way for something ferociously new. This narrative is a journey into one possibility, a deep dive into the cosmic currents swirling around you. View it as a thought experiment, a mythological exploration of the challenges and transformations that this potent November holds. If this story resonates with you, take what you need from its heart and weave it into your own understanding. If it does not, simply let it go like a dream upon waking. The only truth that matters is the one that echoes within you. So let's begin our descent. Let's explore the first of these treacherous landscapes, a place many of you already know intimately, a place that whispers to you in the dead of night. It's a place we will call the echo chamber of yesterday's wars. Do you feel that? A subtle shift in the air, a familiar chill that has nothing to do with the autumn wind. This place isn't on any map because it exists entirely within the architecture of your memory. It's a vast, cavernous hall where every past battle you've ever fought is replayed on an infinite loop. The air is thick with the ghosts of old arguments, the sting of betrayals that should have long since faded, the sharp, metallic tang of unspoken resentments. It is the place where you go to sharpen your grievances like old knives, polishing them until they gleam with a righteous, painful light. The acoustics in this chamber are perfect for one thing and one thing only, amplifying the sound of your own pain, making it deafening. This November, the door to this echo chamber is not just unlocked. It has been blown clean off its hinges. The cosmic energies are pushing you, almost daring you to step inside. The initial pull is seductive. It feels like justice, like seeking clarity. You tell yourself you're just revisiting the evidence, trying to understand what went wrong with that person, that job, that friendship. You walk past the shimmering specter of a former lover, and you listen again to their hollow promises. You pause before the shadowy effigy of a boss who betrayed your trust, and you feel the hot flush of anger rise in your chest as if it were happening right now. You are the general of a phantom army, refighting battles that have already been lost and won, clinging to a victor's crown that no one else can see. Herein lies the chaos. The danger of this place isn't just the sadness it brings. It's the poison it leaks into your present. While you are inside this chamber, meticulously cataloging every wound, you are blind and deaf to the world outside. A new person enters your life, extending a hand of genuine kindness, but you see only the shadow of the one who let you go. You flinch, you pull away, you preemptively strike, convinced they are hiding a dagger. You are offered a brilliant new opportunity, a chance to build something beautiful, but you can only hear the echoes of past failures, the whispers of "it's too good to be true," and so you sabotage it before it can even begin. You are fighting ghosts, Scorpio, but you are spilling real blood. Your own. The ruin that this place promises is the complete and utter erosion of your ability to trust. Not just to trust others, but to trust life itself. You become so convinced that the past is doomed to repeat itself that you become the architect of its repetition. You build walls so high to keep out the pain, that you inadvertently lock out all the joy, all the connection, all the vibrant, messy, beautiful potential of the now. You become a prisoner in a fortress of your own making, with the echoes of yesterday as your only companions. Your heart, once a wellspring of deep, passionate emotion, becomes a barren landscape, too guarded to feel anything at all. This is not protection. It's a slow and silent fading away. So how do you navigate this treacherous terrain without being consumed by it? The reflection, the way out, is not to pretend the chamber doesn't exist. You cannot board up the door and hope the echoes will fade. They will only grow louder. The only way through is to change your reason for entering. You do not go back into that hall as a warrior seeking to win an old war. You enter as an archaeologist, a scholar of your own history. You are not there to fight. You are there to learn. You walk up to the ghost of that betrayal, and instead of raising your sword, you look it in the eye and you ask, "What did you teach me?" Perhaps it taught you the true meaning of your own worth, a lesson you could only learn by seeing how little someone else valued it. Perhaps it taught you the importance of unshakable boundaries, forging them in the fire of their transgression. You approach the specter of that failure, and you don't recoil in shame. You study it. You see the flawed strategy, the miscalculation, the naivete. It's not a monument to your inadequacy. It's a detailed blueprint for your future success. Every echo, every ghost, every painful memory in that chamber is not a weapon to be used against yourself, but a library of wisdom waiting to be read. When you can stand in the heart of that echo chamber, surrounded by all the wars of your past, and feel not anger, but a quiet, profound sense of gratitude for the strength you forged, for the lessons you learned, that is when the echoes lose their power. They become whispers, then silence. The ghosts don't vanish, but they bow to you, their new master. You have not destroyed the past. You have integrated it. The ruin of your bitterness and mistrust has cleared the way for a foundation of wisdom and resilience. You can finally leave that place, not by running from it, but by having excavated all of its treasures. You step back out into the vibrant light of November, not haunted, but healed. And now you are ready for the second dangerous place. The second location on this soul map is far more deceptive than the first. While the echo chamber was dark and menacing, this place is bright, beautiful, and filled with applause. It feels safe. It feels like success. It feels like everything you're supposed to want. We will call it the Hall of Borrowed Dreams. This is the place where you live out a life scripted by someone else. It might be the dream your parents had for you, the stable career, the respectable path. It might be the dream your partner envisions, a shared future that looks perfect on paper but feels foreign to your soul. It could even be the dream of society itself, the relentless pursuit of status, wealth, and external validation that promises happiness but so rarely delivers. The entrance to this hall is tempting because it's paved with approval. Every step you take toward a borrowed dream earns you praise. "We're so proud of you," your family says, as you accept the diploma for a degree you never wanted. "You're so lucky," your friends tell you as you post pictures of a life that feels like a costume. You become an actor playing a role, and you become so good at it that you almost forget you're wearing a mask. You master the lines, you hit your marks, and you collect the accolades. The applause is intoxicating, a soothing balm for the quiet, gnawing emptiness that has taken root deep inside you. The chaos begins subtly. It's a flicker of profound boredom in a meeting for a job you excel at but secretly despise. It's a pang of inexplicable sadness on a beautiful Sunday afternoon with a partner you love but who doesn't truly see the person you are underneath. It is the jarring realization that you have achieved everything you were told would make you happy, yet you feel hollow, a ghost haunting the beautiful house of your own life. The danger of the Hall of Borrowed Dreams is that it doesn't kill you with a sudden blow. It kills you slowly, by 1,000 tiny concessions, suffocating your authentic self under the weight of external expectations. The ruin here is the most tragic of all, the ruin of your own potential. Every moment you spend living someone else's dream is a moment you are not spending on your own. Your true passions, your unique gifts, the weird, wonderful, unclassifiable magic that only you possess, begins to atrophy. Your soul's voice, which once roared like a lion, becomes a faint whisper, and you have to strain to even remember what it was trying to tell you. You look in the mirror and see a successful stranger staring back. You have built a gilded cage, and the applause from the outside world is the sound of the lock clicking shut. The life you're leading isn't bad. That's the problem. It's just not yours, and that slow, creeping death of the spirit is a fate far worse than any spectacular failure. The reflection, the escape from this beautiful prison, is an act of profound rebellion. It requires a level of honesty that is terrifying. You must be willing to disappoint people. You must be willing to be misunderstood. The first step is to stand still in the middle of this grand hall, amidst all the trophies and accolades, and allow yourself to feel the emptiness. You must listen, not to the applause from the outside, but to the silence on the inside. In that silence, you will begin to hear that whisper of your own soul. What is it asking for? What does it truly crave? The journey out involves asking yourself a series of sacred questions. Whose dream am I living? Whose values am I honoring? What would I do if no one was watching? What would I build if I couldn't fail? What would I pursue if I didn't need anyone's approval? The answers to these questions are the threads you will use to pull yourself out. It may mean having a difficult conversation with your family. It may mean walking away from a relationship that is loving but limiting. It may mean leaving the perfect career to start something messy, uncertain, and terrifyingly, exhilaratingly your own. This process is not about burning your life to the ground out of spite. It's a controlled demolition. It's about gratitude for the path that brought you here, for the lessons the borrowed dreams taught you about what you don't want. And then, it's about having the courage to take the first step onto a new path, a path that has no map, no guarantees, and no applause, at least not at first. The ruin of the life that everyone else designed for you is the single most creative act you can undertake. It is the clearing of a canvas. And this November you're being handed the paintbrush. What you create next will not be a masterpiece by anyone else's standards. It will be something far more valuable. It will be yours. And this leads us finally to the third and most dangerous place of all. We've traveled to the past and navigated the expectations of others. But the final place on our map is not external. It's not a memory or a social pressure. It is the most intimate and most terrifying location in the entire universe, because it is inside of you. It has been there all along, waiting. We will call it the room with the locked door. Every soul has this room. It's a place deep within our subconscious, where we store everything we cannot or will not face about ourselves. It is the home of our shadow. For a Scorpio, a sign of immense depth and intensity, this room is not a closet. It's a vast, sprawling labyrinth. And this November, the universe isn't just showing you the door. It's rattling the handle. What precisely is behind this door? It's every part of you that you have deemed unacceptable. It is your raw, untamed ambition that you fear makes you look ruthless. It is your profound jealousy, which you hide because it feels possessive and ugly. It's your deep-seated fear of betrayal, a vulnerability so immense that you've buried it under layers of cynicism and control. It is your capacity for vengeance, your secret satisfaction at an enemy's downfall. It's your lust, your rage, your greed, your sorrow, all the powerful primal energies that polite society tells us to suppress. We lock them in this room and pretend they don't exist, hoping the door will hold. The chaos of this place is subtle at first, then catastrophic. As long as that door remains locked, the things inside do not disappear. They fester, they grow stronger in the dark, and they begin to seep through the cracks. They project themselves onto the world around you. You don't see your own ruthless ambition. You see it everywhere in others, and you rail against their cutthroat nature. You don't acknowledge your own jealousy. You become paranoid and controlling, accusing your partner of harboring the very intentions that are actually your own. The darkness you refuse to own in yourself, you will hunt down with a vengeance in everyone else. The energy locked in that room becomes a saboteur. It will whisper poisonous suggestions in your ear right when things are going well. It will make you push away love because your unacknowledged fear of abandonment convinces you it's better to leave than be left. It will make you blow up a successful project because your unexamined fear of success tells you that you are an imposter who will eventually be found out. You are not being attacked by an outside force. You are being haunted by the most powerful parts of yourself, which you have turned into prisoners. The ultimate ruin that this place threatens is the ruin of self-awareness. It is a life lived as a puppet, with the strings being pulled by the very parts of yourself you refuse to look at. You are at war, but you don't even know who the real enemy is. The reflection here is the most courageous act of a lifetime. The only way to stop the haunting is to open the door. You have to turn around, walk up to it, and face it. The key, you will find, has been in your pocket the whole time. You fear that when you open it, a monster will leap out and consume you. You believe that the darkness inside you is so powerful that acknowledging it will destroy everything good in your life. This is the great lie your ego tells you to keep you safe and small. The truth is far more profound. When you turn the key and creak open that door, a monster will not leap out. You will find energy, pure, untamed, powerful energy. Your jealousy is not a monster. It is a compass needle of raw desire, pointing directly at what your soul desperately wants. If you can look at it without shame, it will show you what to strive for. Your rage is not a monster. It is a sacred fire, the voice of a boundary that has been violated. If you can learn to harness it, it will protect you and fuel your fight for justice. Your deep need for control is not a monster. It is the shadow of a profound desire to create, to manifest, to shape your reality. It is powerful magic that has been misdirected by fear. The work of this November is not to kill the things in that room. It is to meet them, to sit with them, to listen to their stories, to ask them what they need. This is the process of integration. You bring your shadow out of the darkness and into the light of your consciousness. When you do this, a miracle happens. The energy that was once a saboteur becomes your greatest ally. The parts of you that you were most ashamed of become the source of your most profound power. A Scorpio who has faced their own shadow is not just strong, they are unbreakable. They are an alchemist who has learned to turn their own lead into gold. The ruin that the room with the locked door offers is the ruin of your self-deception. It is the shattering of the illusion that you are only the good parts of yourself. It is the demolition of the fragmented self so that you can be rebuilt as a whole, integrated, and terrifyingly authentic being. You become someone who is no longer afraid of the dark because you have befriended your own. You walk through the world with a power that is quiet, deep, and unshakable because you are no longer at war with yourself. So, Scorpio, this November presents you with a choice. 3 dangerous places, 3 potential ruins. You can get lost in the echo chamber of yesterday's wars, allowing bitterness to poison your present. You can get trapped in the comfortable prison of the hall of borrowed dreams, suffocating your soul with a life that isn't yours. Or you can spend your life running from the room with the locked door, being sabotaged by a shadow you refuse to face. Or you can see these places for what they truly are. They are not traps. They are initiations. They are gateways to the next, most powerful version of yourself. The ruin they promise is not an ending, but a beginning. It's the ruin of the person you used to be, the person you were told to be, the person you pretended to be. It is a clearing, a wildfire, a sacred demolition. This month, you are being called to be the bravest version of yourself, to walk into the battlefield of your past and emerge a wise scholar, to walk out of the gilded cage of expectations and onto the wild, uncharted path of your own making, and most importantly, to walk into the darkest room of your own soul and emerge not destroyed, but whole. The choice, as always, is yours. The map is in your hands. Navigate wisely.